Alright guys, so we're going to show you guys how to get rid of this drip with the putty method that I've been seeing on YouTube. So let's go ahead and get started and see how this actually works out. Hey guys, well, I'm from ReveMoto. So today, going to be doing another episode on how to paint. Well, actually today we're not going to do how to paint. We're going to show you the reasons why paint kind of drips, and how to fix it. So on this one right here, you guys can see a long, large drip going across the whole panel. So if you guys like this video, go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn on that push notification. And if you guys need any pre-paint auto body parts for your car, go to ReveMoto.com, your pre-paint auto body part source. We're going to have the link up above for our website and down below. So let's go ahead and get started on this video. Alright guys, so if you guys been following our episode on how to paint, this is going to be one of the reasons why having the proper technique really matters. So like right here, you guys can see this huge drip right here going across the whole panel. So a couple of things that could have happened on this panel right here. The technician himself would have been too close to the panel and laid too much of the clear down. Or two, he put the first coat down and the second coat and the third coat, but he didn't have enough time to flash it. Flashing is the time that you allow the coats to dry up in between those coats so you can layer the second coat. Or his gun is not dialed up correctly. So that's one of the things that you guys have to also look at, is that your gun is dialed up to right pressure, and also your gun is clean. Your gun also has the right spray pattern. So all those taken into account in regards to drips like this. So one of the methods that I saw on YouTube was to utilize a putty method. So you lay putty on here, and then you sand it down until you see the putty go away. So it kind of inhibits like a lot of different sandpaper grits to get to the level where you can actually buff this out without burning it. So he said on that method, supposedly it'll prevent it from burning, but let's go ahead and try it out. Alright guys, so here's the items that we're going to be utilizing here. It's going to be glaze. So Everglaze. I meant metal glaze right here. So it's from Evercoat. You got your hardener right here. You're going to need a board. Some people use cardboard. We utilize this metal surface right here, so it kind of doesn't soak up the putty itself. You need a flat object like this one, like a hard flat object. You can use a credit card if you guys don't have anything like this. The grits are going to be, actually we have a spreader also right there to spread that glaze onto the panel. The grits are going to be using is going to be, we're going to start off with the most abrasive one, is 320. Then we're going to go up to 600. Then we're going to go up to 1000. And then we're going to go up to 2000. Okay, 2000 we can buff out on 2000. You can go higher to 3000, but we're not going to do that today. And then we're going to have a guide coat. So guide coat just kind of shows you once you're sanding and you think you're done, you kind of put this over it and see if actually that drip is gone. So let's go ahead and get started on this one. First, we're going to go ahead and mix out our putty right here. So depending on the weather, you're going to utilize a lot more of the hardener or less of the hardener. So some people just like to do it across. So today's kind of cold, so I'm going to use a lot more of the hardener. So the more you use on the hardener, the faster you got to move in regards to applying this onto the panel. So kind of mix it. We're just gonna go on this area right here. So one thing that I do gotta say is you can't put this on a freshly painted bumper or fender or panel, because remember, your panel still has solvents coming out of the actual material that you laid on the car or the. Let me start over. So basically, you don't want to put it on freshly painted panels less than 24 hours. I let this one sit for at least 48, actually 3 days, 72 hours. So to let the solvent pop out or come out of the actual panel, So whenever I apply the guide coat, or not the guide coat, the ever what's it called, the putty, Evercoat metal glaze, it doesn't just trap that solvent in there, because with that solvent being trapped in there, it's gonna leave imperfections inside the paint job. So that could actually destroy your paint job also with this kind of technique. So make sure the panel is completely dry. So right now I can see like the putty drying up. It's gonna take, I would say around like, this will probably dry up in like next 15-20 minutes.
Right?
Yeah. So you can already see like the top of the drips right there. And I think like the reason why they have this, they're using this technique is because if you don't have some kind of guide, whenever you're sanding down, you're kind of sanding into like the low spots. And whenever you sand into the low spots, because this is the high spots right here where the drip is, if you sand into those low spots, what's gonna happen is that you're gonna cause that the paint or the clear to go lower and lower here, causing that burnout. So burnout is basically you burn through the clear. When you burn through the clear, you gotta repaint the whole thing. So that's what we're trying to prevent, is getting this part repainted again. All right, guys. So now that the putty's dry, so you can actually press down on it, and you can see it's really hard. You can't even see an imprint on your finger. So the first technique is, actually I forgot to tell you guys need soap and water and a squirt bottle right here. Because we're gonna wet sand it. So get that block right there. We got that 320. So this one's a sticky one. So we're just gonna go ahead and apply it on there like that. So all we're doing with the 320 right now is trying to get the tops off, so the head of the drip. And also focus on the putty area, and don't go like in the area that doesn't have any putty, because you don't want to have that 320 scratch that area, because it's too aggressive. So continue to wet it. And then you see I'm kind of cleaning up my pad also. So it's gonna get pretty messy. And always use that X motion so you guys can have an even stroke on the sandpaper. And it prevents it from actually causing a lot of that putty to grip up on the sandpaper. So you can utilize the sandpaper a lot better. So I put a lot of putty on there. Maybe I should have used a little bit less, but since I used a lot, I'm gonna have to sand down a little bit more on the 320. So one of the things that I'm doing also when I'm sanding is I'm not pressing down too much on the sandpaper. So I'm not putting a lot of force on it. I'm just letting the sandpaper do its job. So you guys can see, you don't even see any pressure going on this panel. So one of the things that I'm looking for is making sure like the panel is even. Right now I have a lot of high and lows because I put too much putty. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sand that down until everything is even, and then I'm gonna move to another grit. You see those holes right there? That's gonna be the top of the drips right there. So you guys can see I'm actually on the drip already. So you guys can see this part right here is a little bit higher than the rest of the stuff. It's not flat yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on this area right here before I move on to the next sandpaper. All right, I'm gonna wipe it down. So if you guys can see like the thickness of the actual putty, if you guys go on this side, you see like it's still got a good amount of thickness on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and step it up to 600. So on this one right here, what I'm gonna do, I think with this technique, I'm gonna go to 400. I'm gonna go back down 400 because the sandpaper itself, the 600 is a lot finer, so it's actually making it stick a little bit more. So it's not really sanding down as fast as I could. So the method here is you want to sand as fast as possible. So I'm gonna go to 400. Let me go get a 400 right now. All right, so we got 400 right here. Let's try this out. Yeah, this one feels a lot better. So it's actually sanding a lot faster. All right, you guys saw where I flipped this around, just because the sandpaper right here wasn't sanding down as much as it should have been, so it kind of wore out. So just kind of switched sides to get a brand new sandpaper basically. So I think we've been sanding for a good like 15 minutes, you say? 10 minutes?
More than that.
More than that? 20 minutes? So around like 20 minutes. I'm just showing you guys like the degree of difficulty it is to get rid of these drips. So that'll make you guys, you know, as a painter, be more aware of like setting your gun right, your distance, and so on and so forth. So one thing that I would say is that I would put a little bit less putty than I did initially, and then I would use the 320 a little bit more, longer, basically. Okay, we're almost ending this 600. We're getting close to feathering it out. The good thing about this putty is like it kind of helps me not get into like these little areas that I don't want to get into, these painted portions right here. So it's actually guiding us, which is a good thing. That's one benefit on this putty technique. All right, so you guys can see right now, most of the putty's gone. I would say I only have like 10% left. But you guys can see like the drip itself is going away. So before we send any further on the 600, because you don't want to remove too much of the clear, because remember you're gonna have to go to 1000 and 2000 afterwards. So leave some of that clear there so you can utilize your 1000 and the 2000 without burning out. So now we're gonna go to 2000. With 2000, I'm gonna completely remove all of that putty. All right. So it appears like the drip is gone, but you don't know for sure unless you use a guide coat. So that's what we're gonna do now.
It feels flat.
It feels flat. It looks flat, but again, it's kind of deceiving sometimes. So we're gonna go 2000. Let's see, I've never done it dry before in 2000. Okay, yeah, it's not working out too well on 2000 dry. So you're gonna wet this portion of it. You're not gonna wet that part because you might take out the guide coat. See, as you guys can see right there, that's what the guide coat does. It shows you guys where the drips are. See how we thought it was gone, but it's really not gone. We still have a little bit more work to do. You see on this edge right here also, you want to try to avoid hitting those edges because very little, it's thinner clear coat on these edges, so that's why you kind of want to stay away from that area. So we're gonna go ahead and wipe this off one more time and apply one more guide coat just to see where we're at. You guys can see those little ripples right there where it's darker. You still have a drip right there. It's a better indication, just like that. All right. So it's basically showing me there's like a lot of sand scratches, like right here. See, like those lines. You want to get rid of those lines too. Because in buffing, whenever you have those lines like that, they're gonna show straight through, like whenever you're done buffing. So you want to get it as fine as possible. And that's probably like that sand scratch is like it's a 600 grit. All right, guys. So the technique, yeah, it works. It works really well. But one of the things that I would say is first, utilize the putty a little bit less than what I did was very thick. So that would cut down on the time. Utilize the 320 a little longer, and then the 400, the 600, 1000, 2000, and then use a guide coat. Remember that to make sure you get rid of all those drips, basically. And for the most part, what I would say is think about the cost, right? The labor cost on this. So this right here took me around 40 minutes. So if I utilize those techniques that I just told you a little bit wiser, I would say 30 minutes. But then you got to take into account 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here, and a little bit more imperfection here, not including the buffing process. So right there, you're probably spending around like 3 to 4 hours on just this panel alone. Would I utilize that technique? No, I would literally repaint this whole part. So again, if you're a production side body shop, I would literally repaint this whole thing. If you're a mom and pop shop that's kind of cutting down on costs and you have a lot of time on your hands, I would do this. Save yourself on material costs. So again, if you guys have any questions, comment down below. I can answer all those questions for you. This is my first time doing it, so I have now experienced exactly what to do and what not to do. Hey guys, I do want to thank you again for watching our great videos. If you guys need any parts for your vehicle, the ones that you guys see in our videos, or anything else, go to ReveMoto.com, your pre-painted auto body parts source. We sell bumpers, taillights, headlights, touch-up bottles, everything that you need for your vehicle. Go to ReveMoto.com, your pre-painted and accessories parts store. Also, go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn on your push notification for more great videos like this one. Thank you.